the Sukuk Bond or the Sukuk Sovereign, it's the first of its kind in Uganda. One, it's also an infrastructure bond. So, the way the government is structuring it, Fenda Tuchimanyi, there's been an increasing desire for the government to fund big infrastructure. Roads, especially the Kampala-Jinja Expressway, the Standard Gauge Rail, Yagalo connecting Kenya. So one of the structure they have done is that they're going to use they're going to borrow some money automatically, but they're also going to issue a Sukuk bond. Why are they going in a Sukuk way? They want to bring something that is Sharia compliant, fully Sharia compliant, because in some way, our Muslim brothers and sisters have always felt like the standard treasuries leave them outside. Because a normal treasury bond, whereas for it has interest rates and everything, it's not designed with the Sharia, and it's not designed with the level of the Sharia compliance, the Islamic financing that is needed. Katinga basilamu bannaffe baganda bafa abasiramu ne banyenyafa abasiramu bamaliriza tebaguze Sukuk bond, treasury bonds. So it was imperative, especially for a country like Uganda that has almost 30% of the population that are Muslims, okubaletera a product they can invest in a capital markets manner that is compliant with Islamic financing laws. That's when Sharia, that's where the Sukuk bond comes in. Now, Sukuk bond will use the money they are trying to raise close to like 300 million US dollars, over let's say 1 trillion Uganda shillings, for a 10-year Sukuk certificate. When we talk about Sukuk bonds, we shall use the word certificate because accounting-wise, maybe Miriam will explain it much better. Ministry of Finance has set up an independent company that is called the Sukuk One. I'm assuming they will have to issue like 10 other Sukukus. They have set up Sukuk One, that when you buy that Sukuk One will issue certificates that will be listed on the Uganda Stock Exchange. Then the money the Sukuk will raise, the Sukuk One, the company, it's called the special purpose vehicles. We see them so many ways. The special purpose vehicles. The money they will raise, that money will be passed on to Ministry of Works for them to fund the construction of the Standard Gauge Rail. Now, all of a sudden, you realize that debt, or maybe the banja, over that certificate, told the government here Uganda. So that means that debt cannot be, that debt will not be part of the Uganda's debt. We call it off-balance sheet. We shall go through them. There is so much information, there is so much terminologies that are going to change in the coming weeks and months as people get to know about the Sukuk infrastructure. But two, another important thing that is extremely important to note, bulijjo for treasury bonds, the minimum someone must invest is 100,000, emitwalo 10. Buli ayina emitwalo 10 ogula bond. For the Sukuk bond or the Sukuk certificates, zigenda kubaza millioni emu. So baganda bafa abagala abasiraamu abanoonya Sukuk that, oyina okubeera nga you have at least $1 million. That's one. Two, there is guaranteed return. Nti bataddewo, I believe, tentatively right now, is around 13%. Kati bwe twogera ku 13% omuntu agenda gamba, but if that is interest rate, does it not then break away the Sukuk, bachita batya, the riba? Abasiraamu mujaba mu bitegere ebigambo ebimu byenkozesa such that nti it's 13% for UGX, it's 5%, 5.5% for USD. Isn't that then riba? Ne bagamba no, it's not interest, it's rental. What makes it rental? then it brings in something we call leasing. Now, this is where it's going to get a little bit more complicated, explaining some of these to omuntu wa wansi. Okuzinyonyola muganda wange Rashid munyonye kyekitegeeza inti sente ze tugenda okukwata tugulemu sukuku certificates, sukuku one company zetunda. Ezo sente sukuku one egenda mu government nekola and it leases it leases the SGR for 10 years. Because that contract is fully for 10 years, then that answers the majority of the people's question. Will we be paying tax on the rentals? Tetuzita interesting. How is that treasury bond? Zinotuzita rentals. No. That's the one amazing advantage ya Sukuk Bond jegendo okuleta. They are going to be tax-free. Why are they tax-free? It's because the Sukuk Bond, it's going to be used to fund an infrastructure project. And in our income tax laws, with the 2019 amendment, actually mwechiri, any infrastructure bond that is issued by government that is more than 10 years is tax exempt on the income you make on it. So, because the Sukuk Bond is being used to fund the infrastructure, the SGR, then it automatically qualifies to be an infrastructure bond, which automatically qualifies it to be a tax exempt. Sukuk Bond, they will be tax exempt. But we shall go in that a little bit. So I wanted to give that introduction on my end. Miriam,